broadcast again.
All right. So now we are live on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. We are on YouTube as well as other only YouTube is the only social platform, correct?
Yep.
Good. So we're not sharing anything. Good evening. Welcome back to our workshop today. First of all, thank you again coming on to this workshop. Aim of the workshop is to encourage our members and to listen from our senior members and the past chairman. It's the evening with past chairman and industry leaders. So topic is discuss about effect on COVID-19 on our engineering practice, our structuring practice and industry and opportunities. That's the topic. And we'll come to know or we'll know from our senior members about further information based on our questions. It will be a purely interactive session. Coming to our platform, as usual, we have panelists. We'll have some questions initially, and at the end of the workshop, the forum is open to our members for any additional questions. Just to introduction, we have our past chairmen, Mr. Shapur. He is the chairman of regional committee in 2009, 10, and 13 and 14. Almost maximum period who led the region for this group, and is very active in CPD talks, and is always is young in at heart, I should say, even though he's a senior member in our family, and always supporter for regional group. Welcome, Mr. Shapur.
Thank you.
Mr. Matthew Easter is our fellow member as well. He is chairman in 2011 and 15. He is a partner and MD for WebEights. Welcome, Mr. Matthew. And
thank you very much, Simon. Great to be
here. Our young and dynamic person, Mr. Angelo, I cannot see here, but maybe we'll see whether he can join later after some time. He is chairman for us in 2012. Abdullah, can you try in parallel whether he's stuck in our technology or
yes. I'll follow up. Yeah.
Okay. He is the chief engineer in DBB. Mr. Mohammad Al Daha is chairman, past chairman, and is very active in local and authorities. Personally, he is my, I should say, mentor for regional committee for me in particular, and he is coordinating with authorities. He's a great help for our regional group. Welcome, Mr. Mohammed.
Thank you, Sama.
Yeah. Next, Mr. John is our fellow member. He's always with us. He's also young and supporting all our members time to time without hesitation. He's also like me, 50 years, but he's young at digital channels, you know. That much I can say. He's a member and he's active in PRI committees, many other committees of IStructE quarters.
Challenge
So, yeah, he's a senior RE in Killa Design. Mr. Haider is none other than Mr. Treasurer. He is there, our pillar all along from 2008, I believe. He is with us.
Yes.
Is the main pillar for us. Mr. Is Haider, GM of Tiger Steel. Welcome, Mr. Haider.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Myself, as you know, I'm Sama. Mr. Abdullah is there, our secretary. Is always there with us, a technical supporter and brain behind all these platforms at all times. Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Mr. Abdullah. Yeah. Then straight away, I know everybody everybody wants to go and enjoy the holiday, and we'd like to rush to our main questionnaire and main topic of this today. So Generally, I'll ask some questions which I feel is relevant to the current market and current challenges. Either you want to go by 7:30, that's what he's saying, before starting of that committee. So we'll just try to wrap up at the early, yeah.
Sure.
This is not only for our attendees, there are people who are following in YouTube also. It will be there and online. Your advice will be always valuable to the structural engineers across the globe, I should say. Now being online, we are more reachable to the many professionals. Your replies are very important. Your support is very important for the community. First, I'll move on to the question to Mr. John, basically related to the institution. So, the benefit of young practicing engineers, how institution can assist to progress career with the institution. Mr. John, can you please throw on your light on that topic?
Yeah, well, considering we've only got 6 graduates and 1 student in the audience, then obviously this is going to be pointed at those. So clearly I know that Ines is the student in the audience, so she's got a long way to go, but she's already involved with the institution anyway, with being the chair of our young members group. But yeah, certainly the other graduate members, I mean, look, the whole point of what you're doing is, you're here to boost your employability. This is a gold standard PEI, Professional Engineering Institute. So, you're going to boost your employability. You need to be showcasing your skills. So, as part of a graduate engineer, enter all of the prizes, the competitions. And look, you've got access to a world of wisdom. I mean, look, there's 2, 4, 6, 7, well, maybe 6 wisely faces and 1 wise face to be sitting in front of you here now, and you've got access to all of us anytime. So this is an institution that embraces everybody. So yeah, I mean, look, student members, you've got a long way to go in us, but you've got a good journey, and you've got a lot of support here, and that's what the institute will do for you. For the other graduate members, then let me have a look at the list. I think I do know most of you. Yeah, scrolling through. So yeah, open up to us at any time. If you need a mentor, if you need help, then just get in contact with us. And the institution, as you can see it here, will help. So yeah, so I think, Sama, that's it in a nutshell. I'm going to keep it brief because I do know that we've got 6 of us on here dying to answer questions, so I'll keep it brief.
Okay, thanks, John. As I said, Mr. Shapur always, you'll never miss CPD talks, even though he's young at his time, but he never misses CPD talks. So I wish, Mr. Shapur, a question to you is, what is the importance of CPD talks in professional growth? Any other methods where professionally people can grow?
Okay, let me start by saying why we do need to have CPD. Okay, I think that's the first point to understand why CPD is needed.
Yeah.
Just imagine you graduate from university and all the things you have learned there, and suddenly you stop studying. You are going to fall behind on all the new techniques that being developed. So CPD basically, as the meaning is continuous professional development, means that you keep on learning, you don't stop. For the institution, there is a certain part of the UK you can actually sign on your design and approve it, and that means that you have to prove that you have continued your to abreast on what is happening in the industry, and as part of when you become chartered, you have to show that you are keeping that in your studies and your profession. So how to do that? You can attend seminars. You can attend evening presentation that we have got, but you can study about any subject that you think it is necessary for your own interest and your projects or your profession. You can attend, you can read magazines, you can read books, but you have to keep a record of what you're doing. The important thing is to keep a record of what you have done in order to be able to prove for the institution and also for yourself that you're learning and you have a goal. I don't want to talk too more because we have got only 2 minutes for each one.
Thank you, Shapur. This question goes to Mr. Mohammed. I know he's an expert in local market and IStructE, and he knows none other than him in the panel. Mr. Mohammed, how IStructE can assist structural engineering practice and create opportunities? Mohammed?
Hi, Sama. Thank you very
Hi.
much. The IStructE is a good meeting ground and networking ground for businesses. And also it's a good way to recognize excellence and professional practices and individuals. So in that aspect, there's maybe a lack of such institutions in this part of the world. So it's a big gap for IStructE to fill.
So, yeah, so that's why IStructE important. Yeah. Anything? That's it, Mohammed?
How much time do you want me to talk for?
Yeah, yeah. As long as you pump your expertise for your students. Anyway, that's okay. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, Mr. Matthew, just a general question because you're in the practice and you know how the industry is going. Because whenever we conduct a talk on super tall, big, and there are crowd will be there. So we are looking for a question: what would be the growth of super tall towers in the region for coming years?
Well, the thing is that the Middle East has seen probably what is the third spike in terms of concentration of the design and construction of tall and super tall buildings. The first spike being in the 30s in Northern America, and in the 80s, I'd say, in South and the Middle East saw probably the biggest concentration, probably along with, again, with the other tall buildings that were built in Southeast Asia, where the boom continued for a very, very long period of time. And it happened in the Middle East, where to a certain extent, it happened on an unprecedented scale in terms of the number of buildings and size of buildings that were attempted. The tallest building in the world is in the UAE, in Dubai, and it's, with the current downturn, it seems that it's going to hold record for some time, for many years to come. What that has done is raise the skill set locally. Now, and by locally, I mean throughout the Middle Eastern region. To answer your question, the first thing we need to do is actually define what a super tall building is, and that is generally accepted by CTBUH as being a building that's more than 300 meters in height. Now, I think due to the current economics of the region, there will certainly be a drop in the super tall buildings that are going to be commissioned by investors and developers. However, I think with the focus changing to different markets in the region now, with the focus being likely to be Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and other regions of North Africa, there will still be a market for tall buildings, shall we say, and tall buildings, I'd say, will be anything from 50 meters in height to 300 meters in height. And the key to success is going to be based on a different metric. And what you will see happen with a focus on economy is going to be the metric of efficiency and constructability, and how that will become the central measure of the success of these types of projects. And from that, read absolute cost, value, and economy, all of which will need to meet more stringent criteria, and also are going to need to meet more stringent sustainability criteria as well.
Thank you, Matthew. And question, I request Mr. Haider to answer. He's a steel man, so I would like to know from you why concrete buildings are more popular in the region compared with the steel.
A lot of it is based on the history. The region is known for its reinforced concrete because of the cheap labor and the perception that steel is rust, and the lack of knowledge of designing in steel, the lack of a community to promote steel design and steel construction. Steel design has to be promoted at school level, university level. That's how was developed in the other parts of the world, like the UK and the US. Engineers, when they graduate, for them, the design of steel, it's part of the norm. However, in this part of the world, we have a fragmented steel industry divided into two sectors. You have the what you call industrial buildings, which is called PEBs, pre-engineered buildings. And then you'll have the other steelwork fabricators, which they have been doing a fantastic job in terms of fabricating very complex building and erecting a very complex buildings in this part of the world, a showcase actually to some extent. But a lot of it is it's a perception and a lot of lack of knowledge. However, in the last 10 years, when we've seen in the 2005 boom, there has been a lot of expertise came into this part of the world, and they have a fantastic steel design skills, and they brought in some fantastic design structures. I'm proud to say that I've worked with Matthew in the past. I've worked with John in the past on a few projects, and their expertise in design of steel is fantastic. Shapur worked on steel designs in the past also in terms of bridges. So the skills, they do exist, but they're fragmented. And what I would say is the steel industry, the structural steel industry here, it will need to bring itself together to do more promotional work of making it easier how to design in steel rather than just a reinforced concrete. There's a lack of textbooks and design books for steel framed buildings to suit the local market in here. A lot of gaps, and in each of them, all what I said is the headlines. If you want to expand further, I'll need 2 hours to go around it. And this is an experience I've built over the last 25 years in promoting steel framed buildings. So that's where I stop here.
Thank you, Heather. Yeah, that's true. There are very good monumental steel structures are there in the market, but steel is not common material. Yeah, that's good.
Correct.
Thanks for your feedback. And again, a question comes to Mr. John. As you know, our institution is working towards climate emergency team and sustainability, etc. Question is related to that. How structuralists can add value to sustainability and maintain environment? This is a burning topic for our institution in general for a globe. John.
Well, to be honest, they should be doing it already. If they didn't start doing it, neither of any of us, the 6 of us that are sitting on this screen, if we weren't doing it 10 years ago, it's too late, to be honest. But look, there is a climate emergency, and the Institute is working towards trying to, let's say, we're not going to say reverse it, but slow down the process. So look, go on the website, check it out. There is the climate emergencies there. There are 6 steps. I put more than 6 fingers there, actually. And I think they're just going to get better acquainted with what climate emergency is all about. Look, it's not all about sticking GGBS in your concrete, The way I look at it is like this. If you go vegan, you'll save 1 ton of embodied carbon. Yeah. When you design a concrete building, you've just thrown away 100,000 tons of embodied carbon. So as structural engineers, we're pretty responsible for what is being thrown up. In fact, I'm surprised that the lobbyists haven't started camping at our doors and lynching us. So look, all I can say is to young engineers is get on the website, have a look, get better informed on climate emergency, get that carbon calculator, check out your buildings. Our talk last week, thought that building wasn't originally designed for sustainability. So I asked him, look, can you just give us what the embodied carbon was on that? And in fact, that was designed many years ago. And even back then, it was already building in sustainability. So it's not hard to do. We're going to try and target zero waste, reduce material. And I think one of the ultimate ones is design efficiently. And not only design efficiently, but just make sure that, you know, we don't just are blasé about just throwing in concrete and bars everywhere, reinforcement bars. Try and influence your clients. Look, I mean, some of the younger engineers can't possibly do this, but some of us that are slightly longer in the tooth, like, do you really need to build this? Everything's going to be all about reusing nowadays, reuse and recycle. We've got a stock of buildings in Dubai that aren't being used. Just imagine what it is on a global scale. So yeah, I mean, just like Hydra on steelwork, I could sit here for hours talking about this. I know we've had various talks on it over the years, and we will still have more talks to come on this. And certainly when we get the talk for the new building code, that's going to talk about how many millions or even trillions of tons of embodied carbon we will save in the Middle East. So again, it's one of these vast, massive subjects, but I think one of the primary things is start learning about where you can save on embodied carbon. You don't have to turn vegan, just stop designing concrete, okay? Yeah, just...
So you're
we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Oh yeah, because I mean, steel is thoroughly sustainable and reusable. You know, if you cut my arm, I will bleed zinc oxide. But it's it's a long subject. We could go on all night, but that's the basis of it. There are 6 basics to the climate emergency actions on the website. I suggest everyone goes on there, everyone looks at them, and everyone starts actioning this now. Hopefully that's okay.
Yeah, thank you, John. Okay, you're in time, no issues. Okay. Shapur, just, you know, nowadays all the clients are looking for efficient design, economy design, etc. So in this regard, I would like to hear from you. So what is your advice to clients to improve efficiency and economy? In other words, what is an efficient design?
Okay, and I think that's the primary question we have to ask. We should not think only about ourselves. If you are going to help a client, although you have to advise them about sustainability, all of those things, you have to understand what is important for them. Are they looking at the financial aspects of everything that you're doing there? They have a project. Is it to brand themselves, or they want to have an efficient operational afterwards? So depending on what is important for them, we have to design accordingly. It is not just to say, okay, this is my structure is going to be more efficient this way. That's not efficient for the client. Clients, okay, if a client wants to have financially something done quickly, you have to think about, you have to design it in such a way that the contractors in the region can build it faster and for a lower cost. Not because you can design it, it is low material. That is a sustainability issue that we can go back to it as well. If a client wants to have a brand and he wants to show that the structure, the building he has got is unique, then you have to design for him to be a unique, because that is his goal. It's not our goal. His goal is important, or her goal, the client's goal. And if it is something that he wants to, after it is completed, work without any problem, it has to have no operational stoppage, because otherwise he will lose money. We have to make sure we stick to all the sort of information that he's wanting, that, for example, deflections are within the limit, or the spans are big enough. So we have to think about what are the goals of the client, not us. His the client is more important. The next point is when we understood all his goals, then okay, we can think about the efficient design in our system, making sure that we have got within those boundaries, we have got a design which has got least amount of carbon footprint. It is something that can be satisfy all the code requirements. It can be built with the knowledge of the people in the region, because at the end we cannot design something that we need to bring a super duper contractor from God knows where to design it, because it's not going to be possible. So an efficient design is not an efficient design from our point of view. Understand your client, think about his needs, then use your engineering capabilities, which sometimes you have to work on it, to satisfy the client's goals. That's an efficient design to me.
Thank you, Shapu. That's good. That's right. Understand the client and deliver it. That's the way it should be. Yes. Mohammed, are you there? Sorry, Mohammed. Okay. Otherwise, I'll move on to. I was thinking of asking a question to Mohammed, but Mr. Haider, I would like to ask you one question. Because you want to leave 7:30, you just answer this question if you can,
Sure.
please. What is your advice to structural engineers for a better prospects? This is the question for everybody asks.
Get involved. Get out. In order for the Institute of Structural Engineers or any other gatherings to help you, you have to be there with them to help yourself. Get involved. Get out, show your face, meet, read, listen, ask the questions. If in doubt, ask about. This is always my motto. Don't just sit in your little corner and think of someone may appear from nowhere to come and help you. That doesn't happen. You have to be out there seeking help. If you have any questions, all our names and contact details, mobile numbers, emails are on the website. And if we cannot help you as an individual, we'll always be directing you to someone else. So just reach out in order for someone to help you. That's all what I would say.
Thank you, Haider. That's good. Good information for all of us. Mr. Mohammed, I need to know from you. You are mute, Mohammed. How is the real
Because
estate
I'm listening.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. How is real estate construction market placed locally? What is the new developments? Is it okay to answer for that for you?
Well,
Because we would like to hear from you, because there are many engineers in the market who are challenging in opportunities. So what do you think?
in light of COVID and with the sad news from Arab Tech and other various things, it's going to be a challenging time. And this is the time, I think, when we need to change the way we think and we need to change the way we work. It was mentioned by our president, actually, the IStructE president, that when a crisis happens or when difficult time happens, that's actually when the membership increases for the professional bodies, because people go back to their professions and they want to become more visible professionally to potential employers. That's maybe on an individual level. On a corporate level, I think it's going to be challenging, especially with the restrictions on travel, because especially for a place like Dubai, we're based, on a crossroads. And I think following up on the point that John mentioned, and we've mentioned as well as a group for several years, we're probably going to see more building retrofits and changes of use for buildings. And I think that's where structural engineers especially will benefit from this. And there should be a shift in the type of work that we do. You're not going to see your mega tall towers coming up as frequently as before. And the trick is to find those opportunities and chase them before your competitors.
What do you think about design and build projects in future? There's a way forward. The general question.
I think it's the only way forward. I've been advising a few potential clients about this. People who come to my office in the land department and they want some help on construction issues. I always tell them, if you're on a tight budget in terms of time or cost or both, which is the usual case, go for design and build. Let the contractor deal with it. Let it become his headache. And we brought in ECC a few years back to talk about it, and I remember the reaction from some of the members was not what I expected, but I was surprised actually to attend the opening of a building by Nishama last week. It's called Una Building, which apparently, I didn't know this, which apparently was designed fully as, or commissioned as design and build. And it's a huge, huge project. And Nishama was very happy, met Fred Drury, and he was extremely happy with it. And it finished on time, on schedule, on budget, and all these things. So they, people who take the time to learn about it will benefit from design and build. But I think there's a lot of maybe lack of awareness for clients about its benefits.
Okay.
Can I just come in for a second, because we can. There is one of the reasons design and build is successful is because in the normal design, client keep changing it during the design process. But once you have a design and build, the sort of control goes to the contractor. So the client does not change and it goes through relatively smoothly. Whereas design clients do like to change things. We know all working here, even once it is reached to a point that you have put the columns in place, no problem, move the columns, I want bigger spans. So, but when the contractor is taking over, the client will say, oh, it's going to have big costs. Okay, you agreed, this is yours, finish it off. Sorry.
That's good. Thank you, Shapur. Thank you, Mohammed. So, this question goes to Mr. Matthew. I think he knows better maybe. Precast and prefabrication talk of the town from last couple of years. What are the prospects of prefabrication and volumetric systems in construction sector in future, which provides a better sustainability, better efficiency in the construction? What do you think?
Well, that's a very interesting question, and it is one of these topics that you can literally expand on and talk on for hours. But I'll be as brief as I can and try to hit all the high notes in terms of the importance of modular construction, which encompasses all the elements that you were talking about, prefabrication and volumetric systems. Now, modular construction is the process whereby the activities that would normally happen on a construction site actually get removed, and construction becomes more the manufacture of a series of elements, and that these elements get assembled on site, thereby reducing the amount of material, lowering waste, lowering the amount of man hours throughout that process, be it design, fabrication, construction, execution, and eventually life costs and embodied carbon of the particular building system. Now, I see you've touched on two elements, one being prefabrication. People, especially within the Middle Eastern region, whenever they see prefabrication, they think precast concrete. But prefabrication could mean the prefabrication of any type of element that involves manufacture off-site and mere assembly on-site. And what this tends to do is minimize wet trades on the project. Now, in terms of the use of prefabrication in the Middle East, I think it's been limited to a certain number of a small number of buildings, and within those buildings, it's been limited to a small segment of these buildings, notably the pre-assembly of bathroom pods, etc. the Atlantis Hotel being an example. But in terms of modular construction, it is the process whereby the entire building from foundation upwards would can be manufactured on site and would actually be brought to site as a volumetric modular unit, a VMU, whereby the whole of the elements, structure, the MEP components, finishes, facade, would actually be completed offsite as a module. The client would have the opportunity to actually inspect the finished product before it actually leaves the factory. So, in terms of snagging and inspections, these are actually minimized. And then these elements would actually be built in, would be assembled as modular sections stacked on top of each other, and they are structurally sound and structurally complete from the moment they're installed on site going forward. Now, there are very many advantages to this method, and it's something that the region is looking at on various levels and for many reasons. Speed of construction being one, quality being the other. And it's very much a technology whose time has come. Now, we have in the last 2 years been involved with a series of studies associated with modular construction. And we've held talks with a number of contractors who are keen in investing in the technology. There's no doubt that you're going to start seeing modular construction rolled out, probably initially on at the low-tech end of the market with the things like labor camps, etc. But bit by bit, you're going to see hotels and other residential type buildings built in that manner. What's happened over the course of, in terms of the recent development in terms of modular construction, it's been found that building volumetric units and sending them to site is probably not the most cost-efficient way to actually deliver these types of modular buildings, because effectively you're shipping a box of air around, and that tends to be quite expensive. And it comes into its own if the factory building the volumetric unit is within close proximity to the site. But the technology has moved on, whereby a panelized system, which would mean that the wall panels, the floor panels, and facades would be assembled and in a flat pack type sent to site and is then assembled on site. And I see that as being the way forward rather than the volumetric modular units.
Thank you, Matthew. I think I'll have
one thing I would like to do, and I might post it on the chat line. There are a number of videos that the attendees might want to check out to understand the technology and what it entails. It's a very interesting aspect of engineering.
That would be great. Yeah.
I'll move to last question. This question could be starting from Mohammed, which is can be to everybody also. What is your advice to practice engineers to meet business challenges and job losses, which is a very common challenge in this part of the region, maybe probably most of the world. So what is your advice to practicing engineers? Mr. Mohammed, and we'll have just a round on the closing marks by all our panelists. Then we'll go for attendees' questions. Then we'll conclude. We are almost 7:45. We're on time.
Thanks, thanks, Sama. If I knew the answers to that question, I'd be in a very different position. I think that focus. I think focus on like we mentioned earlier. Focus on your training. Focus on your qualifications. Use this time to finish the things you've always wanted to do. And go out there and market yourself. We know there are a lot of candidates that want to do the exam, for example, If you have the time this year, try to do the exam. Take advantage of all the free resources and courses that we have to do the preparation for the exam. Do maybe mock interviews for the PRI. Work on that, because if you want to work with a reputable firm, they will appreciate you being chartered. And now's as good a time as any to do it.
Thanks, Mohammed. Shapur, what are your thoughts in general?
And the key point is flexibility.
Flexibility.
Flexibility means that you are not going to say, I can only design this, I can only design that. You have to be able to learn to do design, assessment. You have to be able to do work on site. You have to be able to work on strengthening work. You have to be able to work on all the aspects. You're not only learn how to do concrete as well as the steel. Not only say that I can do concrete. No, learn about those things. And perhaps understand that sometimes at this point in time, be able to say I work part-time. I work part-time because the need of the company may be in such a way that you can contribute, but still working. Flexibility is the key. If you're flexible, you can. I give you another engineering example. If you have got anything which is very rigid, it will break. If you're flexible, you can let it go, reduce the load. Okay, so flexibility is the key, and ability to do more type of engineering work.
Good. Thanks, Shapur. Mr. Haider, what are your thoughts?
I think Shapur summed it up 100%, quite right. Be flexible, go with the wind. One day it will become calmer and things will go back to normal. Also, like what Mohammed said earlier, invest your time to enhance your qualifications and your knowledge. If you have a spare time at hand, you can't go out for a shisha or for a restaurant. Sit at home and do the readings, and today's we have plenty of information available at a mobile. I'm joining the Zoom now is on the mobile, so you can sit at home and go through so many videos, learning, lectures about engineering or everything in life from your mobile. So invest your time, be positive.
Thanks, Haider. So, John, what are your thoughts?
Haider and Mohammed have already said it. We had a record amount of people on the CM prep course this year, unprecedented. We had the record amount of people take the exam this year, unprecedented. It was the largest percentage of any region. So I think it is exactly what we've all just said. Utilize the time that you've got now to do stuff that you keep putting off. I know members of the audience, Ivana, Abdullah, there are people out there that while we've got this downtime, do your CM prep. There's no other time than now, the present, because we've all got. I'm not saying we've all got spare time, but it's while there's a downturn, use your time wisely. So I think we're all going to say that. So,
Matthew, final thoughts?
Well, I'm very much in agreement with everyone else, and I'm going to try to summarize it in very few words. I'd say to upskill is very important, to pick up on what Shapur said, to pick up new skills that are relevant to other parts of design and construction. Downturns have always been followed by a time of growth and innovation, and that innovation comes out of need and often definition of the downtimes, and it's a question of capitalizing on that with the mindset that tomorrow will be a better day, and what we have to as individual and as an engineering community, then it's going to be about innovation and coming up with the systems and construction of the future. So I would say try to do for Phil, everyone else does for Adira.
Good, thanks, Matthew.
Can I add one thing here?
Please, your experience well taken.
in my life, I have been through so many ups and downs. So to all the members that this is their first down, don't worry, it will come back. It will come back with a vengeance. And don't become too complacent because it will go down again. This is something which is happening every about 10 to 15 years.
Yes.
If you look at it, it is happening every 10 to 15 years. By the way, COVID and similar thing to COVID is happening every 100 years. It happened in 1920, 1820, and 1720. So we have got a cyclic event. So get ready for that.
Thank you. Mr. Abdullah, I think we are coming to the close of the session. I think we have 45 minutes, 5 minutes ahead of our time.
Sama, just a quick one. Sorry, there's a question about AI in the chat. If someone wants to pick that up.
Yeah, please. I'll ask some question. Mr. Abdullah will take up that question. That's what I was thinking. Mr. Abdullah, you want to go through the questions or you want me to go?
Yes, I can go through. Please. So we have a question from Sajid Kumar. Thank you, Sajid, for your putting this question here because it's a good topic to open. Someone just answered it. So the question is, will there be a bigger push for implementation of AI in construction considering the current challenges?
Who will state the question? Maybe Shapur? You are old, but you are new also.
Okay. All I can say to you is this. Any automation that has happened in the engineering world, from the time that we started using computers, then started using CAD, moving from hand drawing to CAD, all of these things have been started with some sort of resistance. Nothing has ever happened without resistance. People were saying that he's going to take my job, it's going to take my opportunity to work. Everything is always going to be like that. We just have to learn with that. And I don't think that when the computers came, they were saying that, oh, well, there's no engineering, structural engineers, everything done by computer. No, you're still doing a lot of engineering work. We do the thinking, we do the creation. AI is also looking at the same way. They are trying to be using learning from things, but the initial full creation cannot be done by AI. They are only learning, but it is not full creation. That's all I'm saying.
Mohammed, you want to add anything? Mohammed?
So I'm just unmuting. AI is an interesting one. I think in terms of for site work, maybe that's going to be challenging. But for the design sector, I think it's already there. We already have it with parametric design and with the kind of various machine learning tools. I'm not the expert on that, but I think we're going to see it first in the design, and then it will sneak onto site, hopefully, in the near future.
That's true.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think that near future is 5 to 10 years. It costs too much to implement, so we won't see it in sites in the UAE. I'd say maybe 10 years.
Yeah, basically, AI means basically how automate your system. Last 6 months, if you ask me, March, April, May, June, July, all our particularly and everybody experience, from concept to completion, even inspections, designs, everything done offline without going to the sites. That is a part. It cannot be fully AI, but it's partly maybe towards we're going to the more of a electronic or paperless. That's going to happen maybe.
Sorry, did you say AI or EI?
I don't know. We are you. Both are same.
Artificial intelligence is not using electronic systems.
Okay. I don't know. I'm also not expert, but more of a automation. Artificial.
It's not automation. It's thinking. Yeah, it's artificial intelligence, learning from your mistakes and putting the principles in place, and then the system can learn to move forward.
I have
It's
trouble
machine
with,
learning.
I have trouble with people trying to think on site, never mind automated.
Well,
No
the thing is
disrespect.
that just
It is not going to work so easily.
Yeah.
just to add to that very briefly, in terms of the current technologies, we've got to also bear in mind that the construction industry is behind other industries and technology as a whole. The construction industry has been very slow to adopt the latest technologies, but hopefully out of this downturn and out of need, a lot more of the existing technology, let alone future technologies, will be adopted. And from designers, constructors, users of the buildings that are going to be designed that way, we will see the benefits of that over the next few years. But I'd be with John that it will be probably 10 years, but it's widely adopted at the execution end of the market.
Thank you, Matthew. I think any other questions, Mr. Abdullah? I think
Yeah, I think we're good on questions. We have answered all of them.
Okay.
For now.
Thank you. It's good. It's a great workshop, all of you, and I'm sure your insight will helpful to the majority of our structural professionals, maybe offline, who may see the same workshop in future in YouTube channels. Thank you, everybody, for coming on this holiday day to come on here, spending about hour, 1.5 hours time with us. And thank you all the attendees, and thank you, panelists.
Thank you for organizing it, Samer.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.